Hurson.
I'm Scott Clark.
And I'm Rick Entrop.
And we are coming to you from the coffee shop. It's August 25th, Sunday morning, 8:30 a.m., and we are at Stumptown Coffee in Capitol Hill. We're in the Pike Pine Corridor, the shitstorm of Capitol Hill, which we found out because Rick swung by my house and picked me up, and then we drove up here and tried to park, and there's like bombs of glass all along the curb.
Let's not park in harm's way so much.
I know. It'll be cleaned up probably by even this afternoon maybe, but like after a night like last night, a Saturday night in the middle of August. This street gets a lot of action.
It tends when it gets warm out. It's just it gets a little gnarly at night because people are out and about. It's not cold.
Totally. Well, and last night there was like 5 or 6 events going on, which I was going. I mean, normally, if I'm being real, I don't leave my house on Saturday nights. I get home from work and I get a parking spot, and I'm like, oh, I'm good. Like, because it's like I live down here. It's just a hot mess out, and I'm like, unless I have something to go to, I don't just like go hang out in my neighborhood because it's just
you and I, we could actually just switch houses.
I know.
For I would be like out. I'd probably get home at like 6 a.m. the next day.
I know.
Because I'd be like, ooh, there's
Do you know
people.
what though? I think if I lived in a place like Ording or a suburb or something, I might feel more like I should go out. But because I live right down here, I'm like, everybody, I'm just gonna go home and watch a movie or like go over to a friend's house or something.
Right.
But last night I was up at Cal Anderson Park because the Northwest Film Forum had their 8th annual bike-in, which is like it was sponsored by Sustainable Seattle and a couple of bike enthusiast groups like the Biking Adventure Club and the Film Forum, and they put up an outdoor screen and showed Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, awesome.
And so I volunteered for the late shift, so I got there at 7 after I got off work, and as I was walking up Pine, I passed like 4 different places that were having live outdoor music. And so there was just like tons of people out. And then up at the park there was like what did they do, the bike polo in the courts up there. Have you ever seen it? It's really fun.
I've heard of it.
Apparently it was invented at that park.
Nice.
That like the people who
Bicycle
developed
polo,
it
like with
with like mallets
really?
and there's special like not trick bikes, what do you call them, like they're the wheels that are solid. They don't have spokes. They have
so they can't get the mallet hung up in the spokes.
Okay. So is that just a cover they put on it or something?
I don't know, maybe.
So they've been customized, so it's for safety.
And they have all these like homemade mallets
poke into somebody's wheel and
that'd be really dangerous.
I bet in the beginning it was like that. That's why.
The
evolution.
We gotta make
the
rule.
I'd like to see the evolution of the bicycle.
Right.
Yeah.
Sort
of
like.
Really cool too, because the thing they did for Pee-wee's Big Adventure is they took the soundtrack out and had a live DJ mixing in soundtrack music.
Oh, nice.
Like vinyls where it was really cool. Like you get to certain scenes and like the music feels like a little weird for the era, and you're like, oh yeah, this isn't the real music. And, it was so interesting and made it like even more hipstery because Pee-wee's Big Adventure is like beloved by hipsters.
For sure. Did
And
they
it's
play
a great movie.
a left or bicycle race?
I don't know, because I was working.
Not play that song?
I know. Well, like the screen was right there, but I was doing all this film forum stuff, and so I only watched like maybe the first 30 minutes of it, and then it was like we were moving stuff around.
So he was actually playing music to a film.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
But all of the voices and stuff were in there.
Oh, okay.
He was just cutting in music
so he probably
in an artistic way.
So
they took out the sound.
Boosted the voice frequencies and kind of
something like that. Which I mean, if anyone can do that, the film forum can. Like get rid of all the music.
That movie is
magic.
actually one of my guilty pleasures too. I love
it. It is an adult movie that when you watch it as a child, you don't know it's an adult movie, and then you watch it as an adult, and you're like, this is a effed up crazy movie.
We were watching it, and the scene with Marge,
right?
Yeah, I think it was Tim Burton's first movie.
Yeah.
The scene with Marge, and he does. It actually scared the shit out of my son. He's like, he's like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
It's a little horrific.
Yeah.
They Paul Reubens, of course, is an experimental comic who was like, before Pee-wee's Playhouse came out, really respected by comedians because he does this like avant-garde, like it, because like we've translated it into this like children's show, but if you really go back and look at like what he was doing, there's a documentary called Beauty is Embarrassing that's about the production designer that was in his little group of comics who did all the puppetry and all of the, you know, the visuals of what we think of as Pee Wee Herman. He did all of that.
Right.
It's awesome, like a really good art documentary.
Yeah, he's actually a really good actor too. I like him in the movie Blow.
Oh, he's great in Blow.
Yeah,
he's a genius, and like creating that character. There's scenes in Pee-wee's Big Adventure where like he's just eating breakfast, and his like facial, it's like clown to the 10 millionth degree. He's so every movement of his face is funny, and it it goes in like an arc. He's just like so good.
Method or something like kind of like.
Well, method is you don't think of it as a performance. You try to just become that human.
Sure. Okay.
So I don't know if it's hard to tell if it's method or not, because I imagine when he goes home, he's not.
I've heard like
people
Kramer
call him Pee-wee.
just went crazy as far as his figuring out every last little move. You know, it's not all. You know, it's very deliberate and scripted or whatever. But he's planned it all out. Yeah.
Totally.
But done so well that it doesn't look like it.
Right, it looks like he's just really erratic, but like he worked on every little like twitch of his finger. And,
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure Paul Reubens had to do that because Pee-wee is too good. Like,
what was that superhero movie that he was in? Where was he?
Oh, Mystery Men.
Mystery Men, yes.
Yep.
That's
He was in that too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
he plays.
Didn't have like a main part, but
no,
like
he was part of the
fart
team.
man or something.
Yeah, totally.
He's like the sub level superhero.
Pretty much, yeah, totally.
Maybe a dozen lines or something.
Yeah, it was.
But it's
I love
funny.
that movie.
Yeah, I love when actors do that. They'll just pop in for a movie for real quick.
He's also in Buffy the Vampire Slayer too.
Oh really?
Oh really?
The movie or the TV show?
Oh, he is a vampire in the movie. Totally.
He overacts the dying
he's the one who's dying. He's like,
and he rolls over and then rolls over back again.
and it goes on for like 4 minutes.
And then at the end, past the credits too. It's in the credits too. He just shows him roll back over.
Did Joss Whedon write the original movie?
I want to say no.
No? Okay.
I do not believe so. I think I could look it up on my phone.
No worries. I'm just curious. Oh, yeah.
We've implemented a no fact checking in during
the
policy just because we're lazy. Anyway, so the bike-in was really awesome. Unfortunately, they only do it once a year, so I can't like go, oh, everyone go see it. But do go to the film forum because they have super weird stuff, and I volunteer there, and it's like they have movie theaters, but they also support like local filmmakers, and they give grants for documentaries, and they have a bunch of festivals, and they rent out equipment, and they have editing rooms, and they do classes.
Right.
It's like a really, really cool
Where is this
organization.
located?
It's on 12th and between Pike and Pine on 12th.
Oh, okay.
So the big police station, it's like right
so
next
just
to
right
it.
down the road here.
Yep.
Okay.
And they have super cheap ticket prices, which is awesome.
Cool.
I get in free, so I'm not exactly sure
Free.
how much it is.
Sounds
I
very
do
Seattle.
work for them a lot, though. Oh, it totally is. And like Mark Duplass is a member. He's the guy from Safety Not Guaranteed. Most people know him from. He's a filmmaker. He and his brother Jay Duplass do a lot of stuff. They did Jeff Who Lives at Home. They wrote and directed that. They
I've
did
been meaning to see that. Is it good?
Hempfest. It's really
Alex
good.
really likes the Seagal dude, so will she like it?
I love that movie.
Yeah?
It's
Okay,
really
cool.
interesting and
Netflix
like
thinks I'll like
sweet and a little dark. And I loved it actually. Yeah, I think Alex will really like it.
Kind of like Punch Drunk Love or something.
Sweet, yes, very similar in tone.
Okay.
But this one, like I think Punch Drunk Love, which actually you and I have talked about, is really it's hard to get through because it's so like.
Isn't that
frustrating?
That's what's Adam Sandler, right? Okay.
Have you seen it? I know we're getting sirens.
We got
Maybe they're here to clean up the glass.
Siren
Maybe they
bombs.
are. Have you seen Punch Drunk Love?
Yeah.
It's really hard to watch because it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
But that's like the whole point is that like it's pushing this guy to his last breaking point.
Yeah, and I didn't actually know where the direction of the movie was going.
Yeah.
It was like I kept expecting it to go somewhere.
Yeah,
and it didn't
that movie does really interesting things to the soundtrack too.
Oh, for sure. If you're talking about getting an emotional reaction out of someone with a piece of art, that certainly is one of those. I mean, I didn't like the emotion, but it was certainly there.
Yeah, it makes you like really uncomfortable, but that's it's not as frustrating, but it's more about like just someone like trying to figure their shit out and like some brothers and they don't really get along so great, and it's really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Awesome.
And Susan Sarandon's in it. It has a really sweet look.
You were talking about the directors.
Oh yeah,
the writers.
it's the writer and director brothers, Jay and Mark Duplass. And Mark Duplass is, if you watch the Mindy Project, he is the midwife in the Mindy Project. Anyway, because they are an OBGYN clinic that has a midwifery thing on another floor that are like their rivals. That they're like trying to get people to not go to the midwives. It's really funny.
A show or
it
movie,
is.
Or?
It's Mindy Kaling. She played Kelly Kapoor from The Office. Did you watch The Office?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She's the Indian girl on The Office.
That one. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
And
say no more.
She's an OBGYN who's like a young single kind of
breakout.
It's really, really funny. I didn't like her on The Office.
Ugly Betty for some reason.
Weird.
Just from the commercials.
Oh no, that is actually why I didn't watch it at first, because it totally does. Yeah. It looks stupid. It is actually like the funniest sitcom on TV right now. Maybe Parks and Rec is like rivaling in terms of like laughs per minute. When I watch the Mindy Project, I just crack up. Like it's real, and it has like every comedian that has ever existed is on it for one episode.
Kind of like extras?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, totally.
Do they play themselves?
No. But she's just like so... And it's her and BJ Novak who are the writers for it.
Right.
And they're like the center pin of the world of comedy. For some reason. Like every single... Like she has all these boyfriends and they're people like Seth Rogen and Seth Meyers and like every boyfriend she has, which lasts like an episode, is
Fox,
this
right?
super cute comedian. Yeah, it's on Fox after New Girl, which I also like.
I wonder if they have it on demand. We'll have to check it out.
It's on Hulu.
Okay.
Yeah. If you need a Hulu Plus login, just let me know, because they don't have limits on how many people can access your account. So,
really?
Anyway, I have found out they do not. Netflix, it took them a lot of years before they implemented it, because my nephew and I shared an account for like 4 years.
Right.
We just both logged into my account, and then one day it was like, you can't both watch TV at the same time, and I was like, oh, they found us out. Totally. It could be two people in two different rooms in the same house, or like
I could be watching on my device. Well, we do it. We do it in our house. We do it. I watch it on my phone, but it makes me log in every so many days.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. It kicks me off.
Nice.
Yeah.
But those guys are members of the film forum, and like, so it's fun too, because there's we went to the gala in May, and it's like their fundraiser, and you have all these people that are like just like up at like student filmmakers, and you have people who are like, I've produced 6 movies in the Seattle area, and so it's like a nice melting pot of people who are interested in movie making. Cool. So it's really cool. I like it. It's super fun. So that's my plug for the film forum.
Cool.
Scott went to Hempfest last weekend after we talked about it for 10 minutes or whatever.
I met up with my cousin and her friend, and they were... That was interesting to say the least, because they were both hungover.
And THC, total hangover cure.
Yeah. We got there and kind of separated ways, but I was kind of... It wasn't what I was expecting. A little bit more education and less. Well, there was. I knew there was going to be
less paraphernalia.
Yeah, the paraphernalia, the hawking of it was It was just like going to any farmer's market. It's everything is. Well, I just wanted to learn more about it, and then what
I'm sure that's what it started out as.
Yeah. What was really cool was the speaker, and he got up there and it was talking. So we listened to that guy for a while. Talk about. Because his son's he passed away from stage 4 brain cancer or something.
Oh, wow.
Like that. But he talked about how the medicinal uses of it and how it helped him along and how
cool.
And just and it was, that part was really cool because it was, you could tell the guy's passion for it and all that. And then the bands were really good. There was one band called Eastern Suns. They're really good. They were kind of like a reggae funk, rap, hip hop type. It was really good. I posted a video up on Facebook. But
I've noticed a lot of like 60s era funk is infusing into modern bands. Like, and when I say modern, I mean in the last 2 or 3 years. And Daft Punk's song this summer, Get Lucky, is like the prime example of it. Yeah. But like across the board, and I'm totally in support of this because I dig it. And I realized, like, I was listening to some stuff and I was like, what I like about it is it sounds like it was from 1963.
It's sort of like what Beck and Odelay was trying to kind of pull out a little bit.
I don't know
that album.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Beck. I thought you said back and yodeling, and I was like, that sounds awesome.
That album that had a lot of the 60s sort of flavor. They had a lot of different stuff with it, too. But I love that album.
I think they're pulling more from like Daft Punk's pulling more from the disco era.
But they've always been disco.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's like it's more like it's really disco-y now. It's before it was disco-techy.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, they're an electronic.
Also, Skypilot performed at I didn't get to see them, but they were also they'll be on next week on a podcast. But they performed. We didn't stick around to see them because for one, it was like there's no shade. It was at Myrtle Edwards Park. There was like nowhere to. There was like that. There's nowhere to duck out of the sun whatsoever, and all the trees are maybe 12 feet tall, and everybody's huddled under them. And I did get a contact high. I'm pretty sure I was.
Nice.
Did get a really awesome burrito.
I didn't go, unfortunately. We decided to. I don't know. Seattle's for us is. We just don't like that many people. We went to Bumper Shoot and Goodbye to Seattle and all those things, and it's just way too many people.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're cops giving out food. Like they said they were.
I looked for the Doritos. I think they were gone. I think we went on Sunday and they started handing them out Friday. And
cops were giving out Doritos. That's awesome.
They were they were supposed to have the new laws or something like that to help explain. And what better way to communicate but through Doritos?
Totally. I was last night. I saw a cop walking around, and he had like the short sleeve uniform on and just a full sleeve of tattoo. And I was like, I like Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle is cool.
In most other cities,
nose
you wouldn't see.
Gotta have the nose ring.
No.
Oh, okay.
In most other cities, you wouldn't. If a cop had a sleeve tattoo, he would cover it.
Right.
But in Seattle, everyone's just like, meh. Why not? I'm just a cop. It doesn't mean I can't be a person too.
As we're driving in, we drove in on I-5, and I remember as a kid. Okay, there used to be, ask anybody who's lived here for a number of years. There used to be all these unfinished ramps everywhere. We were when you drive on I-5 downtown, there'd be these offshoots, and the road would just end.
Oh, weird.
And it was like that for decades. It was like that until
Did they just lose funding for construction?
I think so. Well, Seattle back in the day was not a rich town. Mm-hmm. It didn't have. Well, we had Boeing. That was pretty much our biggest industry. But Microsoft really didn't have a full
Our grandpa Entrop worked for Boeing during the World War II era. So.
Yeah, and it was. So I was just trying to drive it in. I was like, wow, this city's actually really cool. I like it when it's sunny out. I mean, even when it's raining out, it's still a beautiful city.
Sure makes you appreciate the sun. That's for sure. Especially this summer's just been the bomb.
We've been really lucky with that. Really
nothing over usually 90.
Last summer, I remember it being like crazy hot and really almost like annoyingly hot.
Oh, yeah.
But this summer, it's been a nice balance of not too rainy, but not too like uncomfortable.
Well, I think July was
3 days that were really bad.
Driest we've ever had. There's record dryness.
28 days or something like that.
Yeah,
it was nice.
Then I remember, speaking of heat, we had one year where we just moved into a house we live in now, and it was we broke 100.
Oh, crazy.
And it actually, we don't have air conditioning.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would die if it was 100.
Who does, though, for that 1 month that you needed?
It was 3 days. We camped out on our back porch
nice.
with fans.
Nice.
to keep the mosquitoes. I mean, it was so hot. Mosquitoes. It was so hot. I mean, I don't even think it went down below 90 at night. And that's just really unusual for Western Washington to stay that hot. But.
Totally.
Do you like to camp, Scott? Normally, are you a camper? You're an outdoorsy guy.
Used to be.
Yeah.
As I get older, my back doesn't like laying on the ground as much.
Oh, sure. Well, you get the blow-up mattress. They got.
Well, yeah, we do have air mattresses now, but we had a camper trailer for a short time, and that actually kind of ruined me for tent camping.
Oh,
Because when you're tent camping, you gotta pack your gear, put it away, and then clean it.
Totally.
Yeah.
But when you're trailer camping,
you just kind of leave it there.
You just make sure the dishes are stowed. You're good to go, man. And it's basically, it's a house on your back, and
totally.
But you still get to get out there and go on nature, just getting out there into nature, walking. Are you fishing? Do you like fishing and kind of stuff?
Back when I was just before I turned like 30, I got really into backpacking, and me and my buddies, we did the Wonderland Trail around Mount Rainier.
Oh, nice!
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, fun.
We did it in chunks because we had it was two buddies of mine and their dad, and we took a 5-day chunk, and we walked 33 miles in 5 days, which is actually really slow for that trail.
Is it?
Yeah.
You can walk around the trail. It's like 90 miles. You can do the whole trail in a week.
Oh my gosh.
And that's going pretty slow.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty hardcore hiking.
They've had people do it in 3 days.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. Because you send ahead. You've got ranger stations. You don't pack your food with you. You send it ahead to these drop spots, and then you meet the ranger out there. But we packed everything. I mean, we brought beer out with us, which is like they say it's a no-no,
Right?
Because it's weight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to then
water
counter it with water because you're dehydrating yourself.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
But
not smart, but maybe more fun.
Which needs a big helium balloon
Ooh.
to carry it, kind of like up,
or
where you're
like
carrying
a dog sled for your beer.
There you go. Yeah, someone
right, or you just get yourself a llama.
There you go.
Well, I guess that's what those are for.
And then if
Or a
Sherpa, a beer Sherpa.
Yeah. An ass. Speaking of ass,
What?
you went and saw Kiss Ass.
Oh yeah, I did. I wrote down. I saw Kick Ass 2 and I wrote down Kiss Ass 2 because my brain doesn't work anymore.
I caught you though.
I know,
Kiss
it's
ass.
true. Rick was like, Kiss Ass. I want to see
trying
that
to get
movie.
trying to get a promotion at work.
There you go.
Got things to do Monday morning. Kiss ass.
Yes, I
That
did
or one of
see
those
Kick Ass 2.
NC-17 types.
Totally. And you guys both saw Kick Ass 1 and
Yeah.
haven't seen Kick Ass 2.
Yeah.
If it's in the theaters, I'm just like, man, I just can't afford it.
I know, it's true. I had a special person who is paying for this movie, which,
nice.
those are nice to have around.
Yeah.
But it was great.
Cool.
It has like a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Yeah.
It is not that bad. Like,
Really?
I went into it going, well, I'm a fan. I'm just gonna, if it sucks, it sucks. I don't care. Like, I just want to see my friends from the
There you
first
go.
movie.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it. It is so nowhere near a 20%. It's not a 100, but it's maybe like a 65.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it was okay. A little watered down, like, not as many pussies. And, the first one,
They cleaned the language
Hit Girl,
up. Yeah.
was like shocking because she was
Right.
9. In the second one, she's like 14.
Right.
And so she's older, so things she does are less shocking.
Yeah.
And she's going through
Right.
this, like, who am I now that my dad is dead and I'm not really Hit Girl in that sense? Like, Big Daddy's not here. Like,
Right.
what am I doing with this? And she's in high school, and so there's a little bit of, like, a Mean Girl subplot where she, like, has a rival who's a cheerleader.
Oh.
So, like, she was watered down a little bit because of the plot and was older, so things she did weren't as shocking, and so it felt much less shocking.
Yeah.
But she still had some great scenes with lots of wild action, and Christopher Mintz-Plasse, the guy who played Fogel McLovin on Superbad,
Right.
he becomes the supervillain, which hopefully isn't a spoiler, because I think he even kind of becomes the supervillain in the first one.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's
now I don't need to.
hilarious.
Oh,
He's
cool.
so good. And he hires like a thug crew. And one of his thug crew is this like 6'3", 55-year-old Russian bodybuilder woman.
Nice.
Oh,
And
right.
her name is Mother Russia, and
Oh,
she's
cool.
terrifying. She
really?
is like
Awesome.
She's like a full head and shoulders above all the other guys in the crew, and she's just like walking abs. Like she is terrifying.
Right.
And so there's stuff in it that's like,
Cool.
I love that this exists, but like I mean, in a lot of ways, Kick-Ass, the first one was like lightning in a bottle, like so different and fun and cool.
Sure.
And this one is like, if you liked it, you'll still enjoy it. And Jim Carrey is in this one.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how was his performance?
It's great.
Yeah.
If you didn't know it was him, you might not know it was him.
Yeah.
Oh,
His
so that
voice
was,
is so
that was
different.
the spoiler then. I would have loved that. Oh, well.
I know. Well, you're like, I think that's, but he has all this like facial makeup on, and his voice is so different, and he's so like unwacky.
And he
And
gained
you're-
weight for this movie, too.
Oh,
He
he's
thickened
a
up.
big dude in
Oh,
it.
awesome.
Like,
Oh, cool.
I really dug what they did with him because I was expecting him to be super zany, maybe to have like a different kind of a story, but he actually was like a really like touching character, and it was really good.
Oh,
I was
cool.
like, wow, like I just was
Him-
really surprised by him.
In Burt Wonderstone was amazing.
You told me that. I
Yeah,
haven't
well,
seen
he-
that yet.
What is
I
it
will
called?
watch it.
The amazing
The
Burt
amazing
Wonderstone or something.
Burt Wonderstone.
I didn't even hear
He just,
about it.
it's like kind of cable guy-ish.
Oh, okay.
But he pulls off an amazing bad guy, which or amazing antagonist or whatever. Because that's
like a
Burt
dark-
Wonderstone is
Yeah,
a movie
oh, yeah.
about magicians that's
Yeah.
starring Steve Carell,
Yeah.
and it
Okay,
came
yeah,
out for a hot second and
Yeah.
did really bad in the theaters.
I
And
think it
but
was
it's
a little
full
underrated.
of stars.
I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
quite,
I've heard that.
amazing, but it wasn't a dud. You
Yeah,
know? I mean, it's
I'm
definitely
totally
worth a
gonna watch
rental.
it.
I give it
Well-
at least a B plus.
That's good. Like on Rotten Tomatoes when it was in the theater, I think it had like a 7%.
Oh, really?
But
Wow.
and this is like telling about maybe expectations. On Amazon Instant Watch, it has like 4.5 out of 5 stars.
Oh, okay.
Which means the
That's
people
awesome.
at home who are watching it at home,
Like
who
it.
maybe aren't like, this needs to be really artistic, like they're okay with some goofy
Yeah.
comedy,
No,
and like they enjoy it more. And I think, I mean, I love comedy. I think a lot of
Yeah.
critics are like overly harsh when things
Right.
are stupid, because I like stupid jokes. Like
sure,
if something
yeah.
is like a dick joke and
Yeah.
someone gets punched in the balls, a lot of critics are like, oh, that's not very good. And I'm like, I dare
Well,
you not to laugh when
yeah,
someone gets knocked in the
because
nards.
there's an
That's
aspect of comedy
funny.
That's why they're critics, though. I mean, because they
I know.
can't pull off. They're just they
Saying
can't-
everything is
yeah.
good does not make you a great critic.
But I think what a lot of film critics get wrapped up in, though, is like, does everything in the story have something to do with the story?
That's
Is
true.
everything, you know, where comedy, you're pretty much free for all, and you can kind of just put random stuff in.
Yeah.
But
and
like,
artistically, a movie like Anchorman does both of those in a perfectly meshed way. Like, that's my example of
Right.
that. So, like, I think they're looking for something like that, which is great, because there are certain movies that do blend both of those. Like, everything has to do with this world,
Sure.
and there's a lot of crazy stuff in it.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
But sometimes they don't, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of bad comedy too. But
Oh, for
I don't know. I just felt like they were overly harsh with Kick-Ass,
Yeah.
and probably a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just because of the first film. They're wanting to measure up, and sequels
Yeah.
never measure up.
No.
Well, but the thing
It
is
costs
you've
twice as
set up
much.
the characters. That's the whole
Yeah.
enticement of the first film. It's like the first date.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're finding out who these people are, what
Yeah.
they're about, what's this guy, how is this guy going to react. Then in the second movie, you're all set up, so you just jump
Yeah.
right in, which is why, by the way, Empire Strikes Back is my first favorite movie of all time, incidentally. But it's because it's a second movie, and you don't have to waste time
It is a
figuring
great
stuff out. You're
That
just
is
right
I
into
never
the
thought
whole-
about it as the second movie, but that's my favorite in this series too.
And it is actually mine
Yeah.
too. Only
It's
because
No, but I've
Probably
done
universally felt that way, right?
all the soul searching and everything that I needed to find my favorite film, and it was.
And that's Empire Strikes
Empire
Back.
Strikes
I
Back,
think
yeah.
that's a solid choice.
I was 8 years old when it came out.
yeah.
I mean, it was. I saw
like
it
the
with
best
my
thing that ever
grandma.
happened.
Yeah, yeah.
Aw.
It was just
You saw that with Grandma Hurson or Grandma Gilbert?
Gilbert.
Oh,
Yeah,
very cool.
yeah. So
That's
it was-
so awesome.
I think when it came out in 1980, no,
Yep.
78,
No,
78,
80. Yeah.
80.
Because the first one came out the year I was born,
Yeah.
which is the only way I know, and then they did it, every 2 years?
We actually seen it in
83 was
Greenwood,
the Jedi.
Yeah.
Greenwood, Seattle.
Oh, nice.
McDonald's was still fairly new in that neighborhood, and they were giving away free movie passes. But you were supposed to go in with an adult, and none of us did. I mean, the rules were so relaxed back
Oh,
then.
for
I
sure.
remember just walking in, just walked in. We went and watched Empire Strikes Back. I can't remember.
Yeah.
78. Or no, 80.
80, yeah.
And I remember seeing this. No, I hadn't even seen Star Wars yet. I don't think, and it was still actually showing. Star Wars was still showing.
Star Wars hung out in the theater for a super long time.
Yeah,
if you look at like the film history of it, because it was back then they had these ABC runs with the way the film houses were set up, and that looped through about 5 times.
Because I remember going and seeing Star Wars again after.
I stayed in the drive-in finally, and there was a drive-in on Aurora up north by where we lived at, and I think Costco's there now. But
we should just do a whole episode about Star Wars.
We should totally Star Wars.
Okay, stop the content here. Pause. Stay tuned for the Star Wars episode.
Just the effects of
that would be really fun. We could all go home and watch all 3 of them, and then come back.
Well, I have
with
Star
notes.
Wars Trivial Pursuits.
I know. You were a hardcore fan. It's true.
Man.
And it was very Pulp Fiction type movie because there was different stories, but they all tied together.
Yeah,
I liked it.
It's really good. It's we're like talking about like one of the most iconic movies of all time.
It is actually. It's probably.
But then. Okay, I'll save it for the Star Wars episode.
Okay.
But I have some beef with George Lucas for sure.
Oh, for sure. Have you seen The People versus George Lucas, the documentary?
No, but I'd like to.
You should watch it. You'll love it. It actually made me less annoyed with him in some ways and more annoyed in ways I wasn't expecting to be. Because it presents a generational view of how people perceive George Lucas.
Oh, yeah.
And you're in the I want to murder him age category.
And I don't know about
Keegan is in
but
the I got no beef category.
Well,
because his audience of everything is always a 13-year-old boy.
Sure.
And so if you are no longer a 13-year-old boy, you're like, why aren't you still making movies for me? And he's like, but I make movies for 13-year-old boys.
You're no longer in his demographic.
Exactly. Right. But so you age out and he stays the same, and then you go, why aren't you doing what you were doing when I was 13?
Star Wars was
and
not
he's
for
like,
13-year-old boys.
You don't think so?
There was those elements in
so.
there.
He talks about it being for 13-year-old boys.
But he also talks about how he took a lot of like it was the big fantasy like
Keegan is defending Star Wars as a kids movie from the corner.
Well, no, the newer movies for sure he made for kids.
But even like Ewoks are kids. It's a kids movie. Well, I get what you're saying. There's more adult parts of it.
As wide as
for sure. Yeah, no. You should watch it though. It's really enjoyable, and it'll like if you're annoyed with him. There's a lot of other people who will feel exactly the same way as you.
I heard that the Ewoks were originally supposed to be
They were Wookiee, and they were like, "This is not going to work."
They were too scary, and it was too hard to do.
Have you guys seen the 1980 Christmas special, Star Wars Christmas special?
Yeah.
That messed my brain up. You have to come in because I can't. This will not hear you at all, and talk louder.
Didn't George Lucas try to find all the copies of that and burn them
I heard that, because I saw like a bootleg VHS recorded with a shaky handheld camera.
I watched it on TV.
Oh, nice!
I watched it. Yeah, I remember staying up for it. It was like
totally.
That was a thing.
Anything Star Wars.
We were actually. Was that 1980s Christmas special? I don't know if it's
called the 1980 Star Wars Christmas special. So I
seem to remember we were living in Seattle when that came on.
Because I think it came out in preparation for.
Oh, for.
Or maybe it came out because of. I don't know. I'm not sure. It was called the 1980s.
Still living in Tri-Cities at the time.
Oh,
I know that was the introduction of Boba Fett.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because they had it animated. They had it animated.
Oh, yeah.
You can look it up on YouTube.
Totally.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies and Rotten Tomatoes scores from a while ago, today I'm going to see World's End, starring Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Nice.
Rocking a hard 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, which for a third in a trilogy, 95, I'm like, all right.
There you go.
I trust that this movie will be great, and I'm super excited about it.
Have you seen Spaced?
I love Spaced. You told me to watch Spaced.
Cool. Right on.
It's have you seen Spaced? It's Edward Wright is the director. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, and it was their first little collaboration.
Okay.
And there's a female comedian from the UK who has done very little since in terms of U.S. mainstream. She still does a lot of comedy.
Right.
but it's maybe what 11 episodes. It's really short because it got canceled.
Yeah, 2 seasons or something.
It starts out not really knowing what it is, just a sitcom, and by episode 4, it has developed the nerd genre.
Oh yeah,
Each episode they get progressively more nerdy, and then suddenly it's like, oh, this is what we are.
Yeah, right.
We're the nerd genre.
Yeah.
It's
I remember
so
hearing
good.
about it, and then it got. I think Big Bang Theory kind of overtook it.
Well, it
Or was that
predates
before-
Big Bang
I did-
Theory by like 5 years.
It's totally like
It's
98, 99.
Okay,
It's before
maybe I'm thinking something else.
Shaun of the Dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
They made Shaun of the Dead after collaborating on
but they have
space.
just tons of Star Wars references.
Yeah.
Tons of they start doing
It's
that
really
creative
comic
sort
book
of
stuff.
outside the box filming, like
I love that comic duo too. They got a really good chemistry together.
Oh, for sure.
But you see that when
it develops in this. It's really like being a fan of their stuff. It's really enjoyable
and it's
to
neat
watch.
that they went out with that rave sort of episode.
Yeah.
Too, as one of their last episodes, because that really just sort of
Yeah,
I don't know.
it does kind of just stop though.
Yeah.
You are like, oh wow, this is going to be so great, and then it's like, and scene,
Yeah.
and then it's just over. And
almost
you're
like it should have been a trilogy movie thing or something. But.
This is
Well,
actually.
they're going to continue to make movies together. They said
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
yeah,
just
yeah.
the last of the ice cream genre,
Right.
Or they call them the ice cream movies because there's an element of ice cream in the plot of each of them.
It's a certain kind of ice cream.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
there's a flavor. There was like the first one had. Cornell. Yes, Cornell.
I gotta
It's
be
a
honest, I've
Cornell.
never
Oh,
seen
okay.
Shaun of the Dead.
Really? Oh, you should watch it. You'll love it.
It'll be on like TV or something. I'll turn it because I don't want to see it
Yeah.
because I haven't seen it.
You
yet.
should.
Oh,
it'll be a great
I will.
afternoon.
One of these
because
days.
it's
Actually,
so
some
enjoyable.
Halloween.
So which one's it? It's Hot Fuzz,
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the
Shaun
Dead,
of the Dead,
and then
and this
World's
one.
End.
And the first one's supposed to be like a chocolate kind of ice cream, and the second one was I can't remember the flavors.
Is it strawberry and this is
Shaun of the
vanilla?
Dead was mint.
Mint.
Oh, okay.
No, that's this one. This one.
Okay, the last one's
This one is mint. You gotta talk
I
louder.
don't know.
But anyway, it's just for the scenes that they're eating ice cream together. That's
Yeah,
all it is. It's a
okay.
certain brand of ice cream too.
Yeah.
Cornell's ice cream. That's
Right on.
So like Stan Lee's got to be in all his movies that come out.
right.
I know. I love when the director thinks they came up with that, and then you're like,
Yeah,
it sort of makes
yeah.
you a narcissist. And also, Alfred
Actually-
Hitchcock did that in the 40s and 50s,
Yeah.
so that's
They should put him in there and then kill him every episode,
yeah,
like Kenny
totally.
or something. You know? Like, there's some-
Or like be a really unattractive, like in Django Unchained. Have you guys seen Django?
No, I haven't seen
So
that yet.
fantastic.
Oh, I think- yeah, you
Quentin
mentioned
Tarantino's in it because
Right.
he's in all of his. Well, actually, I don't think he is in all of his movies. He's in many of them.
Right.
He plays the worst, most crappy acted character in the whole movie, almost out of place because it's so bad, with a terrible Australian accent for no reason. And you're like, why are you in this scene? It's so weird. And like, it's really bad. And it makes me love him because I'm like, that is a terrible performance. And it really feels like it's this weird scene in the movie too, where it's like, what is going on with this scene? But
really-
it's really fun.
and he's got
and
an Australian
it's almost like a
accent.
sketch comedy. Oh, and it's like, hello, I am from Australia. Like it's really bad.
Very mechanical.
He has to talk slow because you can tell he's thinking through the things he's saying. It's hilarious, and it makes it has nothing to do with anything else.
Okay, so he's kind of making fun of himself a little.
Oh,
Or
for
just
sure.
Not taking
And
himself
he's-
serious.
Yeah, and he's one of 3 in the scene, and the other 2 guys are just like no-name actors, like just people. So it's not even like
It was
he's
a total.
just one of 3. He's just like, I'll do it. I'm Australian.
it was a total throwaway scene. It didn't even.
Well, it's a good scene, but
Right.
it had no
It could have been-
obvious thematic plot point
Right,
for him to be that character.
Right.
He could have been any like of the side. Like there's a lot of like side thugs in that because it sort of plays like a video
Maybe he
game.
was taking a page out of Cheech and Chong's playbook.
Those are the most overrated, terrible movies that have ever been.
I think they
created.
hold weight. I have them. I watch them. I love
No,
Cheech
that's
and Chong.
fine. Yeah,
They're my guilty pleasure. How about that?
I enjoy them in a sense, but it's like this. I
no,
can't
yeah,
believe
they're
these
not-
are so iconic because they're
Yeah.
so.
Up in Smoke is their best, though.
Oh my gosh.
It's the best one.
Totally. I just want to check our time because I realized I haven't looked at it at
I
all.
think about 40 minutes or something.
Oh, right
Yeah,
on.
40 minutes, yeah.
I have a new phone, so I don't know how to. It might even have stopped. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Oh no, it stopped.
Seeing some technical.
No, wait, is it still going?
Peggy's using a new phone.
No, it stopped.
Yeah, how do you like your new phone, Peg?
I do. You have to send me your thing. Mine stopped.
It'll be on the
Oh, SoundCloud. That's right. Perfect. You know, I got the Nokia Lumia 521. It is a Windows phone. I have been told I'm the only person who has got a Windows phone who does not work for a company involved making the Windows phone. But I really like it.
Self-sustaining product.
Well, Mark, my friend Mark, works for Microsoft, and he got one free. They were like, "Here's a Windows phone." And he's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
They get free stuff all the time over there.
Yeah.
But it was free.
So the price is right.
Price is right.
Yeah.
I have
get
an
locked into a
iPhone
plan?
for work. No. Actually, oddly enough, the guy I was working with, he kept trying to upsell me on stuff, and I was like, seriously, dude? I have an iPhone for work, and I have unlimited data, and everything on that phone. All I need is a phone that I like, that is my not work phone.
Right.
So I do not need anything extra. And then he ended up looking at my contract and realizing if he took me off contract and put me on, they have like a new no contract plan, it would be cheaper. And then with it's like $6 a month over 2 years to pay the phone off. So it actually costs money, but he reduced my plan, and
That's
it actually
T-Mobile, yeah?
yeah, I think I'm actually paying like $5 less a month
cool.
to have this phone and
so-
no contract.
And you can trade these phones in every 6 months
Yeah,
or something like that.
totally.
So it's like if you're not really happy with it, you're not stuck with it for 2
Or
years.
you just want
Yeah.
another phone. You're
Yeah.
like, here's
Yeah, you got
this
an
one.
instant
Give me a new
backup.
one.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
So I like it because it's pretty and has a cool interface that's kind of slick and it's pink and it like I can just like do this and it's fun and I'm touching stuff and it's all pretty. I'm in it for the interface, I gotta say. And it has a camera button, which I like, that just automatically, like it has an actual shutter button so you don't touch the screen to take a picture.
Oh, okay.
And I enjoy that. And it's really light. I just like it.
Yeah.
I've been told it's not a cool phone at all. It's like an uncool phone.
so that makes
it cool.
I know, it's a hipster. I'm
Yeah.
like totally hipster with this
Yeah.
phone. Like, I had the Windows phone before anybody else knew the Windows phone was cool.
You're on the cutting edge now.
things at work. I work for a screen printing shop, and you see some of the, I don't know, strangest shirt designs that come through. But one we're doing for Intel right now, and it's two bar, or what they call, not pie charts, but graphs.
Bar graphs?
Bar
Yeah.
graphs. It's like one on top of the other, and then there's like a phrase at the top of the shirt, and it's like,
Weird.
how geeky can you get for a
What's the
t-shirt
phrase?
design? I don't know. I don't even care. You put two bar graphs,
graphs.
one on top of the other, on your shirt. Like, that's for
That is information
business presentations.
purposes.
It's not something you're proud
so
of.
you
or
can
trying
walk
to,
around and hold your shirt out and go
Yeah,
check out my
well,
specs.
I know, and it's like it's all this nerdy or geeky stuff, not nerdy
Yeah.
stuff. But anyway, I just
Yeah.
like, man, that takes the cake for geek. Let me tell you.
Totally.
I'm gonna get one printed for my dad.
I know,
Get it
seriously.
tie-dyed and
My-
be set.
Totally. My friend invited me over for a game night, and they're playing Star Trek Settlers of Catan.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I think that is the Bermuda Triangle of nerd.
There
It
you go.
is.
It's the
Yeah.
Star Trek version.
It's a board game?
of Settlers of Catan, and I was like, A, I want to play, and B, dork.
Nice.
Like,
Well, nerd
it is,
for sure.
Yeah, it is like
they're-
the quintessential nerd.
My friend does have a Star Wars Life game,
Oh,
which I
nice.
still want to play. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you do that? What's-
You know, I always thought life was boring, the game life. And then I realized, I think in high school, because I remember playing it with Autumn, I didn't know about the gambling aspect of the life game. You know, the wheel you spin and there's like a bar on the side?
Right.
I
Yeah,
never
you
knew
can
what you were
gamble at
supposed
any
to
time.
do with that. And then once I figured that out, I was like, this game's great. And it just became like roulette.
Right?
Guys, we might as well be playing poker.
I played it a few times. I got really depressed.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, you're
because-
like, I'm not married yet.
Or It's just there's things. I mean, it's you
like
can
buy a house,
and you can have the house burn down or stuff like that.
That's really funny.
I played with people also who turned it into a drinking game. So
really?
Yeah, you spent certain things or
That's hilarious.
I don't remember much of it, but it's because it was a drinking game. You tend to drink more than you play.
It's true, totally. I don't think I've ever.
What can't you turn into a drinking game?
I don't think I've ever actually played a drinking game. I've been at parties where we intended on playing a drinking game and then got distracted by
legit, like quarters or some card game, or just any kind of this turned into a drinking game.
Yeah, the one the party I was at, we were watching like a movie and playing the game of the movie. But then by like the fourth or fifth drink, you kind of lose track because you're drunk and you're like not paying attention and.
Speaking of drinking games, we're watching. Me and my wife were watching Mike and Molly.
Oh,
and we wanted to turn that into a drinking game. Wherever they made a fat joke, you got to drink.
Mike and Molly is the sitcom.
Yeah. And then if they make one of themselves, you got to finish the whole drink. Or no, if they make themselves laugh, you got to. Or if you laugh at it, you got to finish the whole drink or something.
I need to watch that show.
But then they were doing a drinking game on their show. Where they were watching the wedding videos and they had to drink every time Mike ate a bite of cake. and then towards the end of the episode he took a drink too when they caught him.
So you would then have to drink every time because that's sort of a fat joke, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So every time he drinks you're like, oh, fat joke, and then you're chasing the dog there or whatever they call that.
Yeah.
You're drunk.
Get a little hair on the dog.
Oh my gosh, that's really funny.
Dead air.
Yeah, I know, dead air. My brain doesn't work very well anymore. I was just trying to think if there was something else that I was supposed to bring up, but I don't think there is.
How's your work situation going?
I'm still on night duty. I go see the doctor tomorrow at 9.
Nice.
It's not. My neck isn't getting any better. It's
really
no.
That
I get stingers in my hands all the time, I'm usually a sound sleeper.
Yeah.
And this actually became. It was a point, but not really an argument, but it was a sore subject in the house where I'm supposed to get up early enough to ride the train into work, but I don't sleep all night, so I end up oversleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been
Have you talked to your people about this? Because that to me means maybe you went back to work too quick. You know what I mean?
Could be.
Because if you're needing more sleep, but
it
you're
sounds
not
like
getting
your
well because of it.
is the issue. So
and
which I mean, the light duty thing sounds great to like HR executives who are like, oh, this means people can continue to work.
Yeah, but you just can't. You have to. Otherwise, you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
I did apply for a new job though.
Oh, did you?
Really?
I did.
Very cool.
I go through these phases every once in a while, and this one's actually a good turn. Because usually when I apply for a job, it's because I create like this villain at work, and I don't like them, and you know what I mean. And then plus I go chasing money. But this time it's different because it's actually something I really like, which is snowboarding. I love snowboarding.
Oh,
really?
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm a skier, but
we can hang out.
nice.
So
Okay. Cool.
You guys won't get in fights over you're going straight. I'm
It
going
used to be this huge rivalry.
Oh,
Matter of fact,
I know.
back in Crystal Mountain was like one of the last holdouts for skiers to be allowed.
There was a ski movie that I caught. I don't remember which one. I think it had one of those what's the kid's name? But I think that's Hot Dog or
one of the 80s ski movies.
Yeah. But it had the two guys that were in Lost Boys. I can't.
Corey?
Yeah, but it was the one that passed away.
Yeah, Corey.
Yeah, he was in Haim. But anyway, the whole plot with that was to keep the snowboarders off the hill. I'm like, how do you have a whole movie devoted to a whole plot to ostracise, a whole segment of because now there's more snowboarders on the hills than skiboarders.
Totally.
Well, the learning curve on it for me was it was not there. I picked it up within a couple of days. So
cool.
Right on.
And skiing, I don't like when I try something, I try to teach myself.
Okay.
I'm not an instructor. I'm a horrible student, and I'm an even worse teacher. So I basically would just gutted it out. I did try skiing, but my knees, and because I'm just too big. My knees and my ankles could not support my weight.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
That sucks.
But snowboarding is more.
Yeah, there's a bigger.
It's not as there's not a stance issue where you don't lean back on your ankle. You know, it's just
Sure.
and it was just a lot easier to control.
Okay.
I've never snowboarded. I've only skied. Our dad taught us to ski from a pretty young age, so he's kind of into it.
Yeah.
But I've never been skiing as an adult.
Right.
Yeah, it's the cost to me that I'm
For
like.
sure. Yeah, I have skis.
Nice.
That's what has kept me from going up for as much as I want. I bought season passes. Like I spent every Friday night at Snow Palmy Pass.
Crazy. So what's
what's your job?
The job.
What's the job? It's Evo up in Fremont.
Oh, cool.
Evo. It's a snowboard.
Cool.
Ski, snowboard, skate, and wake boards.
Oh, nice.
And it was a sales position. I don't know. I think I could probably sell somebody a snowboard.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right on.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Totally. That's awesome.
Do they have those new kite board things?
Oh, I've seen
that
people
that's
out
maybe
with
more of
that.
a
What is it, kite
river
surfing
thing.
or
Yeah,
something?
kite surfing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks
I don't
like
know.
fun.
I don't know.
Work.
I've heard it's really hard on your back. That you have to really muscle up for it. Because I had a friend who did it and was like, I couldn't walk for 2 days.
Oh, wow.
Because
I'm sure,
you're like holding,
It's
you're like
kind of-
pulling your own weight.
Well, it's a little bit like sailboarding.
A little bit.
A little bit like hanging from a pull-up gym
Right.
bar for
Totally.
Well, you got this
At
massive.
my last boxing lesson, I did I was supposed to do like tricep and bicep dips, rotating between like 30-second things.
Yeah.
And the farthest, he's like, hang if you can, do some bendies if you can. And all I did was like put my arms on and lean my body weight onto it, and like my feet were still on the ground. And he's like, if that's all you can do, that's fine. And I was like, yeah. Do you know who you're talking to right now?
Oh, yeah.
That is all I can do.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I can attest to that too.
Yeah.
When you get into it, that's
know,
actually really hard on your back and shoulders.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, the muscles that I'm developing with boxing are totally different than the ones I use in daily life, and which is why it's great.
Yeah.
But like, it's definitely like the tricep one. My arms were back so far that even just putting my hands in the thing made every muscle in my chest and shoulders and back
and stuff.
like totally. I was like, oh yeah, this is plenty, and I'll probably be sore tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
Well, now he's trying to build muscle on you,
yeah.
which is taking stuff to failure, which now you're going to start feeling
right,
sore.
I've been a little more sore, and I'm supposed to go in and do weights.
Actually,
on the off
for
days and
soreness,
stuff.
creatine.
Oh,
Because it
I heard
hydrates
that.
your muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It washes all the lactic acid away.
Yeah.
So,
I'll have to check
cool.
it out. I haven't, it hasn't been terrible yet, but it's definitely like I'm doing a lot more punching, and he's trying to get my lats going and stuff. So
if you decide to do that, though, look for the serums.
Oh,
Don't
I'll
buy any
call
powder.
you before I buy anything if I do it.
Okay.
Because like the potassium tip you gave me totally worked.
Awesome.
I mean, I threw up in my second lesson, but that was for a totally unrelated reason. And I didn't get all weird and shaky and curly up.
Yeah.
It actually like totally took care of that problem.
Good.
So, and I'm getting better. I signed up for another month of lessons.
Oh, awesome.
So I've done 6, I think. I think I have 2 more left for this one, and then I'm doing another 8. So I'm going to be a boxer. And I'm working on my hip rotation.
What's that one with Morgan Freeman in it?
Power of One.
No. Oh, yeah, there's that one, too.
The $1 Million Baby.
$1 Million Baby. Yeah, and that's actually not Morgan Freeman, is it?
Yeah, it is. He's
Oh,
in
it
there.
is?
Yeah.
Okay, cool,
It's
cool,
Clint
right on.
Eastwood and Morgan Freeman.
Right on.
Morgan Freeman is like the old janitor at the gym guy. Or
Yeah.
not janitor, but he kind of seems like he
He's
would
been
be.
in almost. He's been in like every movie.
Yeah.
It seems like
Oh, yeah.
for the last 4
He
or
has
5
like
years.
200 movies on his IMDb page.
Well,
And he never got his teeth fixed.
and speaking of his teeth fixed, have you seen him? I watched Through the Wormhole a lot. I love that show.
Oh, yeah.
Anything that
good.
science where they talk about the universe stuff, I'm in. I love that stuff. But he's got kind of I don't know if he's had surgery or something, but he has sort of a weird sort of lispy stuff to his voice now. Yeah. So I don't know if
I don't know.
like sometimes when people have seizures or something and the side of their face paralyzes,
Yeah.
kind of that's what it sounds like.
Maybe.
almost sounds
He
like
might
it
even
is.
just be getting old because he's
Yeah,
up there,
true.
you know?
Yeah.
go on YouTube.
He was old
and
when he was doing Electric Company, wasn't he? No, sorry.
Electric Company, yeah. I
When
was
you
gonna
think
mention
about
that.
like Shawshank Redemption, which was 15 years ago, he was the old guy in that,
Right,
and like
yeah.
it's like 15
He's been
years
the,
ago.
he's been the old guy for a long
I know.
time.
Then
It's
he
funny
was
to watch
God.
those. I know. God. It's funny to watch his like 70s movies where
Oh, yeah.
he's like a young dude.
Oh,
It's
cool.
kind of creepy.
Huh.
It's like, have you ever seen an old Michael Caine movie? He made all these like badass British gangster
Right,
movies in
right.
the 70s where he's like a total suave dude who gets ladies, and you're like, A, he has fucked up teeth, like really bad teeth, and B, you're like, you're Michael Caine.
Right.
You are not cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Dirty Rotten
that
Scoundrels
kind of
were
cool.
kind of cool.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what he
Dirty
does.
Rotten
And
Scoundrels.
that
You ever
actually
see
holds.
You ever see the movie, what's it called? Death Trap?
Death Trap is the name of a movie
Yeah.
with Michael Caine.
I think it's Michael Caine.
Maybe
Is
I
it
haven't
Death Trap?
seen it.
Is it Death Trap? It's him and Christopher Reeves.
Oh yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's
Is
actually
it good?
pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll have to
It's
check it
actually
out.
really good.
Is it like an action sort of thing? Or?
It's
Death Trap.
it's about these playwrights get together
whoa.
in a lighthouse, and they kind of they sequester each other, and then they're lovers too on top of it.
Whoa.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I
it's
totally
weird.
want to
You
watch
gotta
that
You gotta
now.
watch it. It's actually
Because
pretty.
your
I think it's called-
description and the title Death Trap don't match at all
I think
to
it's called
me.
Death. That's
Yeah,
the name of
unless
the
you're
play.
talking about,
It's the
like,
name of the play that's
Philadelphia.
right.
Okay.
And they end up sorry. And it was a whole thing about Christopher Reeves and Michael. I think it's Michael Caine. I'm pretty sure.
I don't, yeah.
Yeah, and they get
who's seen it.
they get together and they plot to kill his Michael Caine's wife.
Oh, okay.
And
That's the Death Trap.
She's got a bad heart,
Huh.
and
Okay, don't tell me anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Brokeback Death Trap.
yeah,
I'll totally watch that. That sounds good times.
Huh, yeah. Wow.
Plus, I like thrillers from that era. Like, I assume it's like a late 70s, early 80s era, because that's the Christopher Reeves era.
It was after Superman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like thrillers from that era because they predate the action genre, and thrillers post-action genre are too actiony for me, not thriller enough. Like, have you seen Wait Until Dark? It's a movie where Audrey Hepburn plays a blind woman who gets weirdly targeted by these guys who are trying to retrieve a doll with diamonds in it, and she accidentally has this doll, and so it's these guys trying to sort of like trick a blind woman, and it is so tense, and then she ends up like doing some stuff that's like turns the tables on them, but like it stresses you out so much because she's blind and so she can't see what's going on, but you can, and you're like, oh, you're gonna die, and like there's so much good tension, and actually people do it as a play because there's a play version, but from that era, like the thrillers were so much more suspenseful because they didn't rely on having a big shoot up scene, but now it's like every thriller has the scene where it's like, now we're just gonna shoot at each other.
Yeah, well,
And then
the
I'm
movie
like,
Shoot
well,
'em Up.
totally. I'm like, well, now your tension is mostly gone because now you're an action movie.
Yeah.
So it just sort of it to me feels like a cop out that they're like, oh, let's just heighten until we're shooting, and then
Seems
it's
like
not.
music kind of does that too. It's
Really?
sort of like music will be like this one big thing, and then aspects of it will branch out. And, I don't know. Not to be any kind of specific sort of thing, but
Speaking of music, I've been really liking this soundtrack that's been playing above us here in this coffee shop.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Totally. This place is like happening on
Stumptown. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah,
Sunday morning.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah. People were in here for the hangover cures.
Totally.
Yeah. That's one thing I've been really liking about this podcast. It's like I've been really exposed to how many different areas or different coffee shops other than Starbucks that we've and how people actually put together their vision of like a cool coffee shop.
Yeah.
I've been really liking it.
Me too.
And it's something we do every Sunday morning. It's like whoop, get out of bed. I mean, this morning was a little, kind of roll out slow. And,
yeah, I had
a
second
tough
thoughts
time.
about showing up myself. I was pretty tired too.
I know. I was like, what time is it? oh, thank God I picked something close to my house.
No doubt.
I was like,
Next.
I could totally wake up in like 20 more minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the Woodinville Cafe is right next to my house too. So if you ever need one in Woodinville,
You
Totally.
can, just suggest a spot. I mean,
Yeah.
because
I'll also just something I can watch too.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, if we all have to travel, then like that's why we kind of rotate who picks,
Yeah.
so that like no one person has to go super far every time, unless you want to. Because Scott's actually picked like some downtown, and but you guys are always out like doing car shows and stuff.
Yeah, well,
You guys are all over
it's
town.
getting slower as the summer gets
Yeah.
long in the tooth, and
Long in the tooth.
and so our days have not been as packed. So today's kind of a free day after we get done with this. We'll probably drive around, go up to Seattle Center, maybe look around there.
Right on.
Cool.
Very
Maybe.
cool.
I got a disc golfing date after this.
Oh, nice.
So,
Last night at the Bike-In, they had a game that was toss the rubber inner tube for a tire around a ring, and it was really hard because they're not stable.
Oh yeah.
And I, no joke, get up there, feel it,
Yeah.
dip the knees, toss straight,
Nice.
zing right onto the
Nice.
thing, first shot, and everyone was like, "What?" And I was like, "My brother
Nice.
taught me some disc golf stuff," and then I did the next one, and I kind of like felt
There you
it.
go. Yeah.
And it hit it and fell in front of it, but like every single one I threw, I touched the thing,
cool.
and I was like,
There you
"Oh, we've
go.
only played a couple times, but like."
You're a natural.
Seriously, I think I was one of like 3 people who actually hit the ring the whole day.
They actually,
wow.
there's a
That's
really
awesome.
good disc golf course really close to where we live, out in the summer.
Oh yeah, south of there's a lot of like the Fenwick is a good park. I don't know if that's close to where you guys are at.
Fenwick?
Yeah.
No.
I think like White River or Tiger River.
White River.
White River. Yeah, I think that's professionally ranked.
Yeah, that
as well.
one's
like the
that
pros,
one's, I
they're
think
on
that
part of the
one's up
circuit.
in Entrop or Huckley.
Anyway, yeah, there's tons of them.
Yeah.
It's
Cool.
I only know this because a guy I work with does disc golf.
Oh, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
It's fun. Like, I suck at it, but I always have a good time. Because there's enough skill involved that it's interesting,
Yeah.
but not so much that I am, like... Because I think I'm like I can do it, but it's hard. But, like, I'm not terrible.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But it's not a competition. You're not
Right.
part of a team that's
Yeah, that's true.
having to pick up the slack.
But you know
yourself.
when you're like so bad at something that it's just like
Well-
you kind of are like, this isn't fun anymore because now I can't do it, and you know what I mean?
Sure,
It's
sure.
in that sweet spot of like challenging but not so challenging that it's like, because a lot of times
Sort of
with
like-
sports I'm like, this is
If
too
I
much.
use to use a skiing analogy, you're not
Yeah.
on the bunny slope, but you can do the green run.
Yeah, totally. It's definitely the green run for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Can't go hitting the diamonds.
There
Yet,
used-
but
there used to be a course in Woodland Park too. in Seattle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there used
Oh,
to
wow,
be
fun.
back in-
Oh, you know, I think so, but they didn't have baskets then. It was all like they call object golf, where it's like, okay, now hit that garbage can. Okay, now hit that side of the tree with the thing there.
I
It
just
makes
you know.
sense because
remember
then
it.
you can turn anything into
Oh,
a
I know,
little disc
yeah.
golf course.
Well, and actually with disc golf, they call it safari golfing.
Oh, nice.
But it's where you make up your own, you know, you have all the baskets,
Yeah.
you just throw from different spots on the course.
cool.
So-
Right on.
Anyway.
It's
Totally
amazing.
makes sense.
I didn't know how many different discs there was.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Like
dude.
drivers and putters.
Rick's got his like whole like pack where he's
Yeah.
like different.
I've lost
colors
them and
stuff.
given them away.
You write your address on there.
Oh, heck yeah. Well, not my address, but my phone number.
Phone
so-
number.
Yeah.
Because
And your name, because if it's like, you know, who are you, you know?
Yeah.
the guy I work with, he actually had one end up in the Sound, and it got found up in Edmonds, and
Weird.
he lives down in Kent.
And if it comes
cool.
back in this area, I don't know. Nothing against Seattle, but I have yet to have like more than a couple discs come back after dozens of
Yeah.
it.
People just walk
Well, they're
off.
Oh, heck
expensive.
yeah.
They're expensive.
Are
They can be. They range from the introductory plastic. You can get like $6-7 a disc, but if you want to get into the more pro, I guess they're in the $17 range for
Speaking
discs.
of discs, I had a bunch of uncles and cousins and stuff. We all smoked weed when we were growing up, and we had a frisbee. It was called a Buzzbee. A Buzzbee, and it's actually had a single toke in the middle.
Oh yeah, and you throw it, and I've seen those.
Wait, so it wasn't a picture of one. It has an actual.
It actually has
embedded into a frisbee.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, right in the center.
You put the frisbee up to your mouth, light it,
Oh,
and throw it to the next guy.
person.
Yeah,
Clever.
totally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
you
big time.
stoners, you're all.
Well, the thing is,
fancy.
I'm surprised they didn't have them all over Hempfest.
if you dropped it though,
Oh yeah.
if it hit something, all your whatever
So
was
there's
in the
some
Well, they're
Rescue
usually
ball.
contained, like how they have like little caps that you can screw on the top.
Yeah, we've lost a few though.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, not the pipe, the contents.
Oh, right,
The contents
right,
would get ejected.
Nice.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, we should do another episode totally devoted to pot.
Totally.
So
I know a couple people we could bring on who
There
would
we
have
go.
some very.
you wouldn't have to look far.
No, there's like
podcast.
people who
There
are
you go.
into
That's-
like
they've
weed
done it.
culture.
It's
Yeah,
already
oh,
is.
I'm sure.
I've
They
looked.
get so into like the minutia of it and
yeah.
get so excited about it, and I'm just like,
yeah.
you're adorable.
Yeah.
But I think people like that are funny. Even like the boozers who are like really into booze. I'm like,
Well, it's almost like they wrap it into their identity.
Oh,
Like someone
for
that's
sure.
really into hip hop, or someone
Yeah.
that's really into it's like that's who they are now.
that's
so.
true.
Which
I guess
I don't
have
really.
things like that too. Like I don't know what it is, but I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure movies,
But I don't know that you've ever not been Peggy more than you've liked boxing or
That's
something.
probably
You know,
true.
I mean, that's sort of what I mean. It's like people really sort of, this is me, and this is,
And they
but-
start identifying, and then their personality sort of morphs a little bit, and then they're like, "I want to be more like this."
Right.
We used to talk about it more back in the day than now, but the coming out process for people who are gay, you go through like the I don't want to identify as gay because I don't want to be too gay. To the rainbow printed beach towel hanging over the balcony of your apartment, and then you balance out somewhere in between. We used to anyway just like laugh about how people would be like, oh, well, I mean. I don't want to like say that I'm gay because I don't like put a name on it, and then they go like super stereotypical where they start wearing things that you're like, this you're just not even the same at all, and then they chill out a little bit. I think now there's more diversity that people don't necessarily feel like they have to take on that identity to feel out where they're at.
I did the same thing with snowboarding. Actually, I was kind of
really?
I went super
Well, that's
cheap.
a culture.
That's
Anything
a
that's a
total
culture,
culture,
someone
yeah.
can go in and
I was
totally
super-
take on
I went-
their identity.
I was
Yeah.
super cheap, and I had waterproof, basically jogging pants. That's what I used.
Nice.
And,
Awesome.
And it was I didn't even look like a snowboarder. I looked like pretty much like a homeless person.
Nice.
And then
Right on.
and then I went total
Snowboard
gear
down
out.
with a
Then
little sign, a little snowboard.
then I went like I'm a snowboarder, and I gotta have the proper board. I gotta have the proper name
You even
brand
just
boots.
did like the snowboarder
the
hang loose thing.
the Mahalo,
Yeah.
Shaka bra.
That's awesome.
So and then now I'm back down to just like I'm just basic, just back to just I do have my board pants because they function. It's functional with fashion for me.
Totally.
The boots, I just got. I mean, they're boots, but they're not expensive name brand boots, and they're just everything's back to the basics.
Totally.
It's like an art. It's a natural
Yeah,
art.
Do you like watching the
pendulum.
snowboarding films? Not like Warren Miller and that kind of stuff.
Oh, those are
I did.
love 'em.
I did at first. Matter of fact, there's a few that were shot up in Crystal Mountain.
Oh yeah.
crazy.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
There's a run where you actually got to hike over, and it's
And
total.
Alpental as well. They've done a few.
Yeah, Alpental.
Nice.
Alpental. I've never ridden Mount Baker, but
Oh,
we're gonna run
dude!
out
If
of
you're a
time.
snowboarder, you got to go to
Yeah.
Baker. That's like,
Yeah.
I mean, in Washington, I'd say
That's the birthplace of snowboarding.
Oh, crazy.
weird.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Well, hey, we're about out of time.
Yeah.
Sorry to put the kibosh on it, but good luck with the job.
Yeah. Just really one more.
Application.
What
Yeah,
got
totally.
me what brought me to that job was the description, or it's like they didn't really. They preached more the culture than the actual. So it was more like if you dream of bluebird skies, burritos the size of babies, and fresh powder, you're for us. I'm like, all right, that's me.
Right.
Don't come to Washington. We don't have any powder over here. No, sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Nice.
Is it close to where you live?
Fremont? No.
No, I guess not.
No,
huh?
not even close.
Okay, well then.
Yeah, that'd be an
But they,
interesting commute.
they do have a warehouse in Sumner, not Sumner, but Auburn. But that's enough about that. We'll talk about that.
Okay, we'll
Okay.
talk more later. So next week we're gonna have Sky Pilot on.
Yeah.
They're also the Cold Clock Productions people, and so look forward to that.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a little interviewing, talk music, and so thanks for listening. Tell a friend. Find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube. Pass the word along. People are starting to listen more in larger and larger numbers. So we thank you very much for supporting us.
The pirate ship's starting to get afloat.
It's true. And so this has been Peggy Hurson, Scott Clark, and Rick Entrop from the coffee shop. Huzzah!